Hello, and welcome to Buffy and the Art of Story. If you love the Buffyverse and you love creating stories or just taking them apart to see how they work, you're at the right podcast. Today we'll be talking about Angel Season 1, Episode 15, The Prodigal, where Angel is haunted by visions from his past, and in the present, he investigates Kate's father, potentially changing her life forever. I am Lisa M. Lilly, author of the Awakening Supernatural thriller series, the QC Davis Mysteries, and the Writing as a Second Career books for writers. You can find all of those and back episodes of Buffy and the Art of Story, including those that cover Buffy the Vampire Slayer from seasons 1 through 7 at lisalilly.com. That's LISALILLY.com. Along with a recap of The Prodigal, today I'll talk about how to effectively use flashbacks in a story, whether the paralleling of Liam's/Angel's story and Kate's and Trevor's story works, how this episode adds nuance to the Buffyverse view of the interplay between the human a vampire once was and who they are now, and my rating of the episode on a scale of 0 to 10. As always, there are no spoilers for Angel, the series, but if you have not watched all of Buffy the Vampire Slayer yet, you may want to proceed with caution because I do reference the whole of Buffy from time to time. Okay, let's dive into the Hellmouth, or maybe just Los Angeles. The Prodigal aired the first time on February 22, 2000. It was written by Tim Minear and directed by Bruce Seth Green. The previously on streaming shows Kate, Detective Lockley, introducing Angel to her father, also a police detective, at his retirement party. Kate later learning Angel is a vampire and having to stake another vampire by driving a giant wooden board through both of them. Angel says, "You missed," assuming she meant to stake him as well, and she says, "No, I didn't." Prodigal then begins with a young woman servant asking Master Liam why he's hiding in the shadows. So this is Angelus back in the 1700s. He is trying to get her to come closer, and we assume he is already a vampire, but it turns out when his father shoves him into the sunlight that he was out drinking the night before and is really hungover, and the sun hurts his eyes. His father berates him over and over, calls him a disgrace, says now he's corrupting the servants. Liam gets in a little passive-aggressive comment by clarifying one servant. They only have one. The father tells him he'll never amount to anything and punches him in the face. The scene cuts to Angel, present day, fighting a demon. He wipes his lip after having been punched in the face. The demon is very strong. It's a really violent fight. It takes place on the tracks in the subway. And I had to look up whether Los Angeles had a subway. I did live there for a very short amount of time and was never aware of that. But according to the internet and AI, it does have a subway and all of 2 subway lines. On the platform, a uniformed cop tells Kate that a homeless guy threatened passengers, and one of them pulled the emergency brake, but even before that, the homeless guy was pulled out through the vent on the top of the car while the train was moving. Kate is quite skeptical, but there are dozens of witnesses who say the same thing. Angel is still fighting. It's very intense, but at last, after he gets in some more blows, the demon staggers back, clutches its chest, and falls to the ground. Kate arrives at that moment and says, "Well, I guess I can forget about reading him his rights," and we go to credits. Right around here is where we typically see the story spark or inciting incident that gets the main plot rolling. There are a number of moments that could serve as that, and one of the things that works so well in this episode is that each one ratchets things up a bit. We could see it as Kate on the platform learning about the supposed homeless guy, as Kate coming upon Angel as he kills the demon, or something that happens in just a few moments. For now, when we get back from credits, Angel tells her, yes, it's a demon and it is dead. And Kate says, so they can die. And that is a great way to show that she is somewhat new to this world, though she has run into supernatural things before, but she has not seen a demon. She tells him she's struggling with the otherworldly. Angel starts to explain that demons aren't otherworldly, they were really here before, but she walks off. She doesn't want to hear it. A man in a delivery uniform gives a cop a statement, but what he saw was an attacker of average height, average weight, average build. Kate's pretty disgusted with this description, and she asks him why he pulled the emergency brake. He tells her it was an emergency. Angel spots Kate's father, retired Detective Trevor Lockley, a ways away talking to a cop. I see this as the most significant moment that sets off the story because it is not only about the demon and what happened on the train, but the fact that Trevor Lockley is there. That's what really sets all this in motion. Kate goes over to her dad and asks why he is there. He admits that, yes, he has been listening to his police scanner again. He heard there was maybe a hostage situation. He likes the action. Kate asks, didn't he have enough of that in 30 years on the force? While this is a good way to get in for the audience that he is retired and used to be a cop, it makes me a little less a fan of Kate because she doesn't seem to have much understanding of how hard it would be for someone who was a cop for so long to now be retired. At the moment, at least, it seems like her dad is struggling with that. She asks if he also heard she was the lead detective on the case. He just says it looks like she's doing fine and leaves. Angel joins her and notes that Kate seems surprised when she tells him she thinks her dad was checking in on her. She doesn't appreciate Angel's attempt at connecting. She tells him he doesn't get to do that. Kill a demon in front of her and act like they'll go out for coffee afterwards. She's not his girlfriend. She does add that he is probably a pretty good guy for what he is, but she doesn't want this to be personal, and Angel looks hurt. Another moment where I don't love Kate, I get that she's struggling, so I understand her needing some distance from Angel, but I struggle with her acting like it is his fault that he killed a demon or had to kill a demon and she walked in on it. And that somehow, because he is helping keep those forces at bay, he's not allowed to have a conversation with her the way that they used to. There is another flashback. Darla admires Liam, which is, I think I said this, was Angel's name when he was human. As he fights a bunch of guys in a pub, she says she thinks he's magnificent. And the barmaid tells Darla, oh, he is, but he says pretty things at night and forgets all his promises when the sun rises. Darla comments that won't be a problem for her, cueing the audience, if they're not familiar with her from Buffy, that she is a vampire. In the present day, Cordelia tells Angel the code for the new security system is her birthday because it is supposed to be something easy to remember. Angel says he doesn't know her birthday, and she tells him that's the point. After he punches it in a gazillion times, he'll finally remember it. And I love that Cordelia is proactive about that. Wesley found the demon in one of his books. It's a Quaini. They are usually peaceful, balancing demons, gentle, nonviolent, not strong. He and Angel muse about what caused the attack, why the demon became violent, and why it attacked a train. Maybe there is something or someone on that train. Angel heads to the police station to talk to Kate about the demon, but she doesn't want him to use that word. She says, let's just call it an evil thing, which leads to a kind of funny conversation as he tells her that not all of the evil things are evil. And Kate says there are not evil things. He tells her he wants the passenger list to figure out why the attack happened, and she says an evil thing needs a reason. Angel then asks about that delivery guy at least, because she refuses to give him the list, the one who pulled the brake. But Kate is not in a cooperative mood. He told her earlier that she should just forget about all this, that he would take care of the body, and that's what she wants to do. She says the not evil thing was just evil, and now it's dead, and she's done with it. In his car at night, Angel calls Wesley. He says that ever since Kate ran him through with a 2x4, she treats him differently. Wesley is on the subway track. He tells him people need time to adjust when they learn about demons and vampires, especially women. But Cordelia calls out right at that moment, found it, and she's very excited as she takes out a hacksaw and starts sawing the demon apart. Angel is staking out that delivery driver. His company logo was on his uniform, so Angel is at the company's warehouse. He asks Wesley, why would a delivery driver whose job is driving be on the commuter train? He follows the delivery guy who has gotten into his van to an apartment building. Angel goes inside after him and hides out of the way while the man knocks on a door. Now we are reaching the first major plot turn of the episode that typically comes from outside the protagonist, spins the story in a new direction, and sometimes raises the stakes. And it does all of that here because Trevor Lockley answers the door. As an audience, we can't make out what they're saying, but Trevor gives the guy a wrapped brown paper package. There's a little bit of a flaw here because Angel isn't very far away and he has vampire hearing, but it seems to be on the fritz right now because he doesn't know what they talked about either. Angel knocks on Trevor's door, reminds him that they met at his retirement party and that he's a friend of Kate's. Immediately, Trevor worries that something happened to Kate, but Angel reassures him she's fine, but she'll be interested in knowing what the deal is with the package he gave to the delivery guy. Trevor is hostile to this. Angel informs Trevor that he will find out what's going on. He's just telling him ahead of time and talking to him out of respect for Kate. Angel is still in the hallway. Trevor does not want him to come in. Trevor asks if Angel is threatening him. Angel says he's trying to protect Kate, who actually thought her dad came to the scene of the crime because he cared about her. Trevor asks Angel if he has kids, and when Angel says no, tells him he can't know what a father feels or why he does what he does. In a flashback, Liam and his father argue. Liam is apparently moving out. He says goodbye to his little sister who is crying. The father tells him he wanted a son, but he got Liam, who's nothing but a disappointment. Liam disputes that. He lived down to his father's every expectation. The only thing he did wrong is he never failed enough for his father. He tells his father to get out of his way and heads out the door. The father says, "I was never in your way, boy." And he yells after Liam that if he courts trouble, he'll find it. Now there are a number of quick flashes, moments of scenes. Liam is in the pub again, drinking, carousing. Darla lures him into an alley. She bites him, she feeds him her blood. She says she'll show him things he's never seen before. So this is where Darla sires Angel. Some of these scenes are quick flashes from the flashbacks in Becoming in Buffy, but this fills the audience in on how Angel became a vampire. Kate and Trevor get hot dogs outside near a dock. Kate is surprised her dad drove this far just for hot dogs or just to see her. He asks how Angel is. She is surprised he remembered Angel at all. And Trevor's confused when Kate says she and Angel aren't seeing each other. He wants to know what's wrong with Angel. And there are some funny lines where Kate says something about, "I'm not his type," or "he's not my type." There's definitely a type involved and it's the wrong one, which is a great way to summarize what's going on. I like this much better that she is able to say it that way rather than the semi-hostility she had toward Angel. Trevor asks if Angel has a job, and she tells him yes, he's a PI. And when her dad asks, she says he's good. He's very good. And this makes it easier for me to see that, yes, maybe Kate's earlier attitude really is that she is struggling to adjust now that she has a little distance from watching Angel kill the demon. She is able to reflect that, yeah, he is of this world that she finds deeply troubling, but he is there to do good. She asks why her dad came all this way just to ask about a guy he saw her with once. Trevor doesn't really answer. He just says, "It's not good to be alone, Katie." At the office, Wesley finishes his vivisection of the demon, and he tells Angel its adrenal gland was enlarged. He also found a substance, and he picks up a small beaker with a yellow liquid in it. It is metaphysical, but something like street PCP, so it would make the demon very strong and very violent. They guess that the delivery guy was carrying this substance and the demon attacked to get more of it, implying it was addicted to it. Angel muses about what would happen given how violent this peaceful balancing demon was if the substance were given to a battle demon. Cordelia comes in. She's wearing a short blonde wig and glasses. She complains about having to tail a suspect during the day because Angel couldn't do it then. The traffic and parking were terrible. But she got photos of the delivery guy picking up brown paper wrapped packages at a place called Kel's Exotic Auto, and it looks just like what Angel saw Trevor hand the delivery guy. Kate's father, Trevor, is at Kel's now. Mechanics work on cars in the background. It's kind of a warehousey looking space, and he tells two guys in suits that Angel is a PI and he's good. Then he asks what was in those packages. They won't tell him. He's angry. He says he agreed to use his connections to help them move whatever it is they are moving, but he never agreed to remove evidence from crime scenes or grill his own daughter for information. After he leaves, a very large, scary-looking demon emerges and tells the suits to kill Angel. One of the suits, the one who seems to do all the talking in the episode, questions whether killing Angel will cause more problems. Trevor's already suspicious, so if Angel dies, but the demon says kill Trevor too, does he have to think of everything? And the way he is so aggressive and quick to say that makes me think maybe he is one of those battle demons on the drug. We're right around halfway through the episode, so often here we see a major reversal for the protagonist. While Angel is not aware of this, the demons demand that they kill Kate's father is a pretty big reversal. He wants Angel killed too, but Angel's pretty much always in danger. In another flashback, Liam's father is at a graveside service for him. The tombstone says, "Beloved son." A bit of irony, given their relationship. That night, Darla watches as Angel digs himself out of the grave. A custodian sees them and thinks they're grave robbers. Darla tells Angel he knows what to do. He bites the man, who starts saying the prayer, the Our Father. Angel looks to Darla for approval and then kills the man. Darla is thrilled. She tells him now he can do anything, have anyone in the village. Angel says anyone, he'll take the whole village. And I am calling him Angel here, and I'll call him Angelus. Based on what we saw in Buffy, he probably doesn't think of himself as Angelus yet. And one of the online summaries I read of this episode kept calling him Liam, even as a vampire. But I'll go with Angelus to distinguish him from Liam when he was human. In the present day, Cordelia types the code into the security system. Angel tells her and Wesley that he is heading to Kel's exotic auto. He'll go alone. It's just for recon. He wants to proceed calmly and deliberately. But Kate walks in, goes right through the door. The alarm does not go off, to Cordelia's disgust. Kate has brought Angel that passenger list, and when he asks, she said she changed her mind because when her father asked about Angel, Kate said he was good, and Angel says good, and she clarifies she meant at his job. Angel smiles, and Kate goes on that no matter how uncomfortable she is with certain things, she can't ignore his instincts, and she wants to be involved. He looks a little confused, and she clarifies with the case. She's got to face those demons sometime. One of the things Buffy does best is show that power always comes with consequences. That idea is at the heart of my Awakening Supernatural thriller series. These books follow characters who discover the world is far more dangerous and stranger than they ever imagined. Stepping into that supernatural reality means risking safety, certainty, and sometimes the people they love most. This is a 4-book series that blends thriller, pacing, with mythic themes, moral dilemmas, and emotional fallout. There are no easy wins here, just hard choices and the ripple effects that follow. If you enjoy supernatural fiction that asks the same questions Buffy asks, what does it really cost to fight evil? You'll feel right at home. The Awakening series is available in ebook, paperback, and audiobook. You can also grab the complete ebook box set if you'd rather read it all in one go. Look for The Awakening by Lisa M. Lilly wherever you buy books. And you can download the ebook edition of the first book in the series free on pretty much any platform where you buy or borrow ebooks. Find links at lisalilly.com/free. Angel decides he needs to go warn Trevor. Wesley argues against that. He says even if Trevor doesn't know about vampires and demons, he knows he's dealing with bad people, that there's a crime going on, and Trevor made a choice to be involved. But Angel says sometimes the price for one bad choice is far too high. Cordelia hands him his car keys and says, then go talk some sense into Trevor Lockley. Angel leaves. Cordelia resets the alarm. Seconds later, 2 Quaini demons burst in. The alarm helpfully announces in a very smooth voice that the door is open and the window is ajar, aggravating Cordelia as she and Wesley try to fend off the demons. Luckily, Angel returns. He's holding the vial of liquid Wesley took from that demon, and he says he bets they want it. He tosses the vial into his inner office. They both race inside. He flings one out the window and questions the other. I assume he probably killed both of them off screen. I don't know how he would get rid of them. Angel heads out. He leaves Kate a voicemail telling her to get in touch with her father, make sure he gets out of his apartment. He's in danger. But the scene cuts to the 2 suits at Trevor's door. They say it's better if they talk inside. It's about his daughter. Angel continues his voicemail, saying Trevor doesn't know what they are, he won't understand, and Angel is on his way there. In another flashback, Liam's father boards up the windows, but Angelus is already in the house behind him and taunts him for his fear about the monster terrorizing the village. The father tells him to be gone. A demon can't enter uninvited, but Angelus motions toward a corner of the room where his sister's dead body is. He says she thought he was an angel returned to her. The father attacks, calling him a murderer. Angelus throws his father against a wall, gets very close, and muses about his father seemed taller when Angelus was alive, and he can't believe he ever let such a tiny man terrorize him. He adds that he did make something of himself Despite all his father's claims that he never would, his father prays as Angelus bites him. Inside his apartment, Trevor offers the suits a drink. They decline, and they ask if he ever told his daughter about them or about the operation. He says no, she's not crooked like her old man, and she won't have to be. He has seen to it. There's a knock on the door. Trevor answers, but he won't invite Angel in, though Angel begs. Behind Trevor, the suits both vamp out. Angel warns them that if they kill Trevor, Angel will be through that door the second the soul leaves the body, and he will kill them both. But he can't help Trevor. He's stuck in that doorway and watches them kill him. He does dart inside and stake one of them the second that he can, but the lead suit, the one who's been doing all the talking, escapes as Kate rushes in. She kneels by her father's body and sobs, devastated. This is the last major plot turn of the episode, and this turn should come out of the midpoint reversal or whatever the protagonist committed to at the midpoint and spin the story again and raise the stakes. So here it does come out of that midpoint directive to kill Trevor. He is now dead. Angel couldn't stop it, and this raises the stakes. Kate has now lost her father. Angel has to stop this operation. But he also, we can tell, wants desperately to try to comfort Kate, and he is not able to. He tells Kate that Trevor invited them in. He didn't know. And Kate, so distraught, says, but Angel knew. He adds that her dad got involved in something he couldn't have understood. She yells at Angel to get out over and over, and he finally leaves. At his apartment, Angel goes through his weapons, and Wesley worries about Angel just flying into battle without knowing more about the operation. What happened to calm and deliberate? Angel tells him this is plan B. Does he really have to explain what that is? Kate crouches against the wall in her dad's apartment, which is in shambles. She sees an envelope of cash. There is also a card for Kel's exotic auto. At the warehouse, Kate shoots a few vampires, which does make them stumble back a bit. She tells the suit that her father may not have known what they are, but she does. She shoots him again and stakes him and says, "Told you I knew." But the giant demon who runs the operation comes out. We're now at the climax where our opposing forces have their final confrontation. Kate shoots the demon, but it doesn't affect him at all, unlike the vampires. Angel appears as the demon tells Kate she has no idea what's standing before her. Angel chimes in, an ugly drug-running demon, she knows. Angel lunges, gets his axe to the demon's throat, and says he'll let them all walk away if they agree to do so peacefully. The demon agrees, but as soon as Angel lets up, a vampire grabs Kate. Two others head for Angel, as does that demon. Kate fights and stakes the vampire that attacked her. As Angel throws his axe in the air, he uses the stakes he keeps strapped to each hand to stake the other two vampires. It's a very cool scene. He just extends his arm, stakes both of them, then he catches the axe and uses it to chop off the demon's head. This resolves the climax. The protagonist, Angel, prevailed, but it's not a total victory because Trevor is still dead. There is nothing Angel can do about that. And this echoes the climax of the flashback, which we saw when Angel killed his own father. Or I should say Angelus, not Angel. We're now in the falling action part of the story where the writers tie up loose ends, resolve subplots, and sometimes move season arcs. Angel asks if Kate's okay and half-heartedly jokes that you should never trust an evil, evil thing. Kate, though, won't even look at him. He tries to say something nice about her dad. Now she does turn to him, but she says her father was human, and Angel doesn't know anything about that, and she leaves. I struggle with this a bit as well because in the earlier episodes, Kate did all kinds of research about vampires, so she knows that vampires were once human. And earlier, she rejected Angel's attempt to connect with her on a human level. On the other hand, Kate is grieving. She was already struggling to deal with that there are demons in the world. Then she is completely blindsided by her father, both being in league with them, even unknowingly, but also doing something crooked. Even if these were humans, her dad was involved in something illegal. He stole something from a crime scene. Although I'm not sure Kate knows all the details, but she saw the envelope of cash. She knows it was bad. So she is dealing with a lot, and her anger is just coming out at Angel. In the flashback, we also get falling action. Angel has just killed his father. Darla joins him and he tells her he won. He proved who has the power here. Darla says, "You think?" Angel's confused and she tells him his victory over his father took but moments, quote, "but his defeat of you will last lifetimes," end quote. And Angel asks what she's talking about and says, "He can't defeat me now." Darla responds, "Nor can he ever approve of you in this world or any other. What we once were informs all that we have become. The same love will infect our hearts, even if they no longer beat. Simple death won't change that." Angel looks around at the carnage he caused and says, "Love, is this the work of love?" Darla answers, "Darling boy, so young, still so very young." In the present, Kate goes to her father's grave. Angel watches from the shadows. The tombstone says, "Beloved father." The plot in this episode included a lot of conflict, which makes for a good story. It hit all those major plot turns. And there is a lot of emotion there in Kate's story. I don't always love her in this, but I can empathize with her struggles. She really wants her father's approval. Perhaps even more, she wants some connection with him, and she thinks that maybe they're getting it. And then it turns out her dad is involved in these crooked dealings, and then he's killed. It is so many great losses for her. The flashbacks tell their own story. That is, to me, the ideal way to use a flashback. When you put one in just to fill the audience in on the background, it tends to slow the story. If you are writing something and you can get in the backstory some other way through dialogue that has genuine conflict that brings that out, or if you're writing a novel or short story, you can quickly fill the reader in through narration. Usually that's a better way. Most audience members don't like being yanked out of the present story and thrown into a flashback if that's the only reason for it. It kind of brings everything to a screeching halt. Here, though, the flashbacks do have their own story, and it's interesting that we start with a flashback, though Liam's story is not the A plot, it's the B plot, the subplot. But it is important, and the flashbacks have a beginning, middle, and end, and falling action. They start with Liam as human with his very difficult relationship with his father. It has its own opening conflict. We see Darla encountering him, what drew her to him, which I couldn't quite identify with. Liam, there's not much about him that's appealing. I'll talk about that more in the character section. But we at least see how she comes across him. We see him being sired, becoming a vampire. Now, some of this, if you are a Buffy fan, you saw in Buffy. I found it more compelling there. I found the flashbacks more engaging. We didn't spend as much time with Liam, but those flashbacks told a larger story of not just how Liam became a vampire, became Angelus, but how Angelus then got his soul and became Angel, and how Angel decided with prompting to help the Slayer, and he meets Buffy. So it's part of a much larger picture where this story is the story of Liam becoming Angelus and his immediate switch to he doesn't want to just have anyone in the village. He wants to take the whole village. So we get that arc. We get the climax of him killing his father. And we get that falling action where Darla, in a way, explains the meaning of what's happened, or the fallout, more so the fallout, what Angelus will be living with. It is a good use of flashbacks in that sense. Ideally, you also want your flashbacks to integrate with your main plot or reflect it in some way. And we do have some of that here. There are links between what the characters say in present day or what they do in the past. So each transition is done well. It's not too jarring to go to those flashbacks. And there are some thematic links and character links, though they don't all work that well for me, which is a great segue to the themes. There's the obvious one about why parents, and particularly fathers, do what they do, how they relate to their children, and more specifically, their grown children. In Liam's case, he's probably supposed to be a fairly young adult, but that's what we see in both. And there is this question of, does this come out of love? What are the motives of the father? These themes do link the flashbacks and the present day story together. It breaks down a little when we try to see, well, is Trevor, Kate's father, a parallel to Liam's father? In some ways, he is. After he tells Angel that Angel can't know why a father does what he does, we cut to Angel's father berating him. The story is drawing that parallel. Kate and her dad have a difficult relationship. It's not abusive the same way that Liam's and his father's was, not physically anyway, but there is a lot of distance. And Trevor, he doesn't tell Kate directly that she is nothing, that she won't amount to anything. But we saw in earlier episodes that he does tend to undermine her. I can't recall exactly what he says, but she was very excited about something, and he immediately made a comment that either suggested it was no big deal or that she had done something wrong with it. He was always making those kinds of comments. So he's not as obvious. He is not as outright nasty, but he is not a supportive father, and she is always struggling to get his approval, or at least needing it, wanting it, much as Liam does. Liam has clearly completely given up and he's gone the other direction, but there is a link there. There are also, though, parallels between Angel and Trevor. Angel tells Wesley that one bad choice can have consequences that are so out of proportion to what the decision was. He identifies with Trevor having made this choice to make a deal with these demons and vampires, not knowing what he's getting into. And it feels like a very strong connection that Angel is drawing from his choice to become a vampire. He did not know what he's getting into. And we saw this in Becoming, that Darla is saying, I can show you the world. And this intrigues him. And he has no idea that she is going to make him into a vampire or what that life would mean. Then at the end, it is Angelus who asks Darla the question, is this the work of love? After he kills his father and his sister, Trevor does not say he does what he does because he loves Katie, but that is the subtext. When Angel appears at his door, he asks, did something happen to Kate? He's very worried. The vampires weasel their way in by saying, well, it's better if we talk inside. It's about your daughter. So that's why he lets them in, not knowing they're vampires, but he definitely knows they're not good people. And he tells Angel he has done this for Kate. Then there are the tombstones. We see Liam's with beloved son. We see Trevor's with beloved father. These are all parallels. And while I don't think you have to have a one-to-one connection between the characters. It doesn't have to be all Kate is analogous to Liam and Trevor is analogous to Liam's father. It feels a bit off to me that we have Angelus or Angel both reflecting the role of Kate and reflecting the role of the father. And because Kate and Liam are so different, it is harder for me to get on board with the Kate-Liam connection. And maybe it's supposed to be. I don't think that's why the flashbacks don't quite work for me, but it is one of the things that jumped out. I think the bigger issue is that despite that these flashbacks do have their own story, they still feel a bit wedged in to me. They're clearly there to give Angel's backstory to viewers who didn't see Buffy, or it's been a while. They want to remind the viewers how it happened. And some of it, despite all the action, just feels unnecessary. But that could be because I have watched Buffy so many times. Perhaps people who are more normal and only watch it once appreciated revisiting Liam. And some people just love flashbacks to, this was the 1700s. They just love those historical flashbacks. I typically am not a really big fan, though I did love most of the ones in Buffy. If you like the way I talk about story and want to apply it to your own writing, you might find my book, Super Simple Story Structure, a quick guide to plotting and writing your novel, helpful. It is available in ebook, workbook, and audiobook formats. And you can find it at writingasasecondcareer.com, along with all my other books on writing. Or you can sign up to get free story structure worksheets at writingasasecondcareer.com/story. Going back to themes of the episode, there's also that theme of parents doing the worst thing, making bad choices. Often we get themes in stories about, well, my parents did the best they could. And I think that is a healthy thing for people who have struggled with their parents to recognize that their parents were humans who were trying, who were not perfect. This is kind of interesting because Liam's father certainly is so far from perfect and is kind of the worst, even if he thinks he is somehow acting out of love. There is a very engaging theme about forgiveness, compassion for mistakes. Angel does not condemn Trevor. He really wants to help him. And it is juxtaposed with Wesley, who more or less takes the view, he made his bed, let him lie in it. He chose to get involved in something criminal and shady. I don't think Wesley's saying, hey, let him die, but he does not want Angel to dash off without thought to talk to Trevor, when maybe in the big picture, it would be better to take a more deliberate approach. There's also a question, at least, about what it means to be human, what counts as humanity, because Kate says Angel knows nothing about being human, yet Darla tells us how much the human affects the vampire, how much it informs who the person is. And as I said, Angel tries to make a very human connection with Kate, to offer her empathy, and he offers Trevor compassion and empathy. He feels for him, which brings me to the character arcs here. And I love that we see that Angel, rather than being hardened by having made this one choice, draws on it to feel for others who have made a similar mistake, because he could have concluded, especially after the horrible things he's both done and experienced, that, you know what, I had terrible consequences from my one very bad choice, and tough luck. That's how the world is, and that is Trevor's problem. But instead, he really feels for Trevor, even as he is clearly angry at Trevor for how he is not there for Kate, he feels he needs to protect Kate from learning that her father wasn't hanging around because he cared about her. He was involved in something illegal. So Angel shows a lot of compassion, and we have seen that from Angel before, but it is nice to have it more explicit, especially since the season started with Angel struggling to stay in touch with humans, finding it very difficult to do that without feeding on them, and now he can offer genuine compassion. I liked seeing Angel and Cordelia grow closer. She understands immediately what he is talking about when he tells Wesley that the consequences of one bad choice can be so out of proportion. She gets it. Wesley, I don't see much growth for him here other than he is contributing more and he's more confident. He does that vivisection. Well, first he finds the demon in the book. He does the vivisection. He delivers his findings. He delivers advice. Angel doesn't want to take it, but Wesley gives it. So he is growing in confidence, yet we still see that he is very much a watcher at heart. I would assume Wesley could forgive mistakes that come out of not knowing or incompetence, since he struggles himself with sometimes messing up, but he does not have much sympathy for someone who makes what he sees as a strictly moral black and white choice. Kate's character, I really want to like. I like that she is strong and very competent, and I empathize with her vulnerability over her father. Yet that hostility to Angel puts me off. I see that there are good reasons for it in this episode, but it still makes it a little harder for me to get on board with her. This is Darla's first appearance on Angel. I find it challenging to see what she sees in Liam. I guess it is the violence, the propensity for violence, how much he loves the fight when she says he's magnificent. So maybe it's not so hard to see what it is. I just can't quite step into her mindset, which I guess is a good thing. I am not a centuries-old vampire who likes to kill people. And I found it easier to be drawn in the flashbacks in Buffy because all we really saw was Liam catches sight of her in this alley and is drawn to her, and their interchange is very compelling. You can see them connecting. You could see Liam's vulnerability as well, how much he wants something more out of life. Where in this episode, we mostly, at least I mostly just see Liam as this angry drunkard reacting against his father, and we don't know the roots of that. We certainly can tell that his father has berated him all his life, told him he won't amount to anything. But because we don't know why the father is like that, it just feels like, okay, father who puts his son down, son rebels and acts badly because of it. It's not really specific to the father or to Liam, and we're not seeing as much of the vulnerability. You can show a character who's really angry and who's violent and yet still see that vulnerability in him. But because of the scenes that we drop in on, that's what Liam is not showing. He is showing his anger. And I get that. He wouldn't show the vulnerability to his father. But we miss seeing him show it to Darla because we just get those flashes. I don't think we are meant to identify with Liam all that much in Amends in Buffy, the episode where the first tries to get Angel to either kill Buffy or kill himself. Angel says to Buffy, it's the man in him that needed killing. In a way, this suggests he came to agree with his father's view of Liam, which is very sad. I hope ultimately he did not, but while he might blame his father for, in essence, turning him into that, there is or was a deep part of Angel that felt that he was so badly flawed as a human that he was just not a good person, and that both the demon in him and the man in him needed killing. In some ways, Darla's comment about who we are informs everything we do. The human informs the vampire might confirm that, or at least tells us there were some seeds there in Liam. And the fact that Angelus was one of the most deadly vampires, he was famed for it. He was the most cruel. You contrast him in Buffy to Spike. Spike, also evil vampire, but showing so much more vulnerability more often and not as known for being a great fighter, and he killed 2 slayers, but not known the way Angelus was for his out-and-out cruelty and the way he reveled in it. Spike loves a good fight for sure, and I'm sure he enjoyed terrorizing people, but Angelus seems to have taken it to a whole other level, many levels beyond most vampires. So how does that play in with who he was as a human? I don't think it is entirely about that, but Darla is telling us that, yeah, there are some connections. Darla's comment does expand on or change the world building of the Buffyverse, though I think that in Buffy it changed as well. I'm speaking of early on, we're told that the being a vampire, it's the demon taking over, that it has your memories and it looks like you and it might talk like you, but it is not you. It's kind of a demon wearing your face. Buffy tells Ford that in the episode where he wants to be turned into a vampire because he has cancer. In Buffy, that evolves. We see how Drusilla and Angel and Spike, how who they were as humans affect who they are as vampires. But I don't think we ever get as explicit a statement as what Darla makes here. And the fact that it happens early on in Angel, the series, tells us that this is important to the world of Angel. So there is a modification or an expansion here of the Buffyverse. And we'll see how that plays out. Does that affect the storylines here for Angel, for other vampires we encountered? It feels very appropriate for a series where the protagonist is a vampire versus Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where the protagonist is a human who is fighting vampires. So we're going to get more nuance into what makes a vampire who they are. Otherwise, this is consistent with the Buffyverse, and Wesley is especially consistent. This comment about, well, Trevor made his choice. He knew he was doing something bad, really fits with the way Wesley looked at things on Buffy. When Faith was in trouble, Buffy wanted to help her, even though Faith killed someone and tried to frame Buffy for it. Buffy still wanted to try to reach out to Faith, and Wesley's reaction was to call in the council and have Faith taken in. And you didn't get the idea that they were going to try to rehabilitate her. Now, maybe Giles had said that the council had ways of dealing with these things, but he doesn't trust them to deal with Faith. He doesn't think they'll be able to do it. Wesley nonetheless calls them in. So he sees it as very black and white, and we see that attitude here as well. Finally, my rating for this episode, I use a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 being my very favorite episodes of Buffy, like the Faith episodes, This Year's Girl and Who Are You, and around a 3.5 being my least favorite Buffys, like Where the Wild Things Are, the one where Buffy and Riley had sex for almost the whole episode. This one I struggled with rating a little bit because there is a lot that works. The plot structure is very solid. The flashbacks have their own plot. While they do feel a little bit wedged into me, that's only because I struggle with how well they fit thematically. They have pretty clear plot turns. They feel a little slow and repetitive to me. We have a lot of Liam and his father having essentially the same conversation, but if I hadn't watched all of Buffy and didn't already know quite a bit about Angel, I might not find them slow. I would have liked to know more about the father. We saw last week in I've Got You Under My Skin, the sort of generic father, generic mother with their issues. And there's a little more of that with Liam's father. That being said, we are seeing him from Liam's point of view, and I have no doubt that's how Liam saw him, and perhaps he is just meant to be horrible. The plot about Kate's dad is what I struggle with more. The first time I saw the episode, it probably grabbed me much more because there is a lot there emotionally for Kate. She's going through quite a bit, but on rewatch, that just does not grab me the same way. And this is something that is different from the very best episodes of Buffy or Angel. When I rewatch, I typically find even more. I can't watch it with the same level of suspense and surprise, but I often see layers and get different things out of it and more out of it. And with this, I don't feel that way. So I don't mind rewatching it, but it's not an episode that I am excited to rewatch. With all of that, I give The Prodigal a 6 on a scale from 0 to 10. I would love to hear what you thought of the episode. Did it grab you more than me? What did you think of the flashbacks? Are you really affected by what Kate goes through? And what do you think of her and her friendship with, I guess we'd say on and off friendship with Angel? Comment on the Buffy and the Art of Story Facebook page, on YouTube, on Patreon, or email me at buffystorypod@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, and a special thank you to the patrons who support the podcast. Remember to check out the collections tab on Patreon, where you can get all kinds of bonus content, mostly about Buffy. And please come back next time for Season 1, Episode 16, The Ring, where a missing persons case leads to Angel being enslaved by criminals who run an underground gladiator-like boxing ring with demons. You can find back episodes of Buffy and the Art of Story, as well as the Buffy and the Art of Story books and all my fiction at lisalily.com. To support the podcast, hear extra bonus content, and get each regular episode a few days early, join the Patreon community at patreon.com/Lisa M. Lilly. That's Lisa, M as in Marie, Lilly. Music for this episode was written and performed by Robert Newcastle. Buffy and the Art of Story is a production of Spiny Woman LLC. Copyright 2025. All rights reserved.